Thank you for waking up with Happy Ass, where we come together to grow in mind, body, and spirit, so we can in turn go out and make the world a brighter and sweeter place to live for ourselves and for others. So, y'all, it's a new season. That is so hard to believe, and I've got new sponsors, so excited, like Beachy Beach Real Estate, The Final Touch Design, and, Bay Tax is not a new sponsor. Neither is Beachy Beach, but The Final Touch Design is. And you'll hear more about them later. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things, and a few topics we'll be talking about. But today, more than anything, I want to talk to you about something that really breaks my heart. And I got that from Andy Stanley. Andy Stanley says, we need to do in life or be about making change in the areas that break my heart. My little heart gets broken when people are unkind. Y'all, I just absolutely, I wish I could change this, and I'm gonna work real hard to change this. When people go on Facebook and they say unkind things, or they say things like, if you don't like what I'm about to say, you just unfriend me, or if you don't like this, get off my page. That's just, they didn't read How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's all I gotta say. They just did not read that. This is the deal, y'all. We believe like we believe because how we were raised, what conditions we've had to live under. So I want you to really listen to this verse and that I'm about to tell you. And I don't usually use Bible verses, but this is so appropriate today. It is so appropriate. It's appropriate all the time. But I never want to use a Bible verse as a sword against you. I want to use it as words to empower you and lift you and remind you that we are put here on this planet to make life brighter and sweeter for other people. Period. Brighter and sweeter for other people. We are others, people. If you are a Jesus follower, not a Christian, that word can be used so wrong. It can be used as a sword against people. I don't like that. But if you are a Jesus follower, the words I'm talking to you about are not optional. They are required of me. They're required of you. So here we go. Love this, y'all. Love it. And we're going to talk about it a little bit. It says, this is from Paul when he wrote one of his letters to Ephesus. And I don't even remember exactly what verse it is, but I love it. So here we go. After I get my Starbucks charge. Okay. Do not let any unwholesome words come out of your mouth, but only words that are good for building up others according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. I'm going to say that again because it is powerful. And as if we did that, then my little heart wouldn't be broken so much. It wouldn't be broken on the internet. It wouldn't be broken when we're speaking to each other. It wouldn't be broken when we're speaking about others. Do not let any unwholesome words come out of your mouth, but only words that are good for building up others according to their needs, that it may be of benefit to those who listen. And I'm going to ask you some questions. When we don't practice love with the people we claim to love, it takes a lot out of us, doesn't it? It's incongruent living. It's exhausting. And I have to ask myself, what does love require of me? How do we practice love? When you live your life without this, I think it just leads to a joyless life. So I'm going to talk to you about something. So the weight of our words. And I got this straight from Andy Stanley. I love his stuff. He is a powerful teacher and speaker. And this is what I love about him. If you're not Christian, doesn't matter. You can still get powerful words of wisdom to live your best life ever. And to live a life that other people would want to be around you and you want to be around them. It's wonderful. But one of the things he was talking about, and I'm going to get my notes so I don't miss it, about the weight of our words. You know, we think that our words are all just the same, but they're not. Negative words are heavy. They're very heavy. And this is the thing. Sometimes negative words are necessary. They are. I mean, we can say it in a way that's not so negative, but sometimes when you're correcting your children, sometimes when you're correcting maybe someone in your workplace. You may have to go somewhere negative, but you can do it in a way that is building up, but only words that will edify, that will uplift for the benefit of others. Not for my benefit, not because I want to get it off my chest. I don't know why we got into this world. We got to get everything off our chest. You want to get it off your chest, go to a 12-step program and get a therapist. There you go. And your best friend. That's where you get it off your chest. You don't get it off your chest on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, wherever you are. That's not where you get it off your chest, okay? Getting it off your chest takes the stuff that is just yuck and pouring it out into somebody else's life. You don't go and put garbage in somebody's home, do you? You don't walk into somebody's home and just dump out garbage. We shouldn't do that in the world either. We don't need to dump out garbage. So back to my point. So the rule of thumb is this, that negative words weigh way more than positive words, way more. And experts, or they have studied, that it takes a 5 to 9 positive to counter negatives. Now, this was done in the realm of the business world. This was not done in real life, like between parent and child, between spouse, and between friend and friend. That's not where it's done. And Andy Stanley believes that when we're talking about our relationships, it's probably more 30 to 1. Especially the words of a father onto the child, the words of a mother onto the child. It's more like 30 to 1. And so this is the deal. You know, if all anybody's ever heard from you is negative, and you're just pounding them and you're saying ugly things about them, I don't know that they're going to listen. They're not going to listen to anything edifying you have to say, because you've damaged the relationship. And that's why I think this negative stuff on Facebook is just awful, y'all. When you start attacking people, even people, you may mean well. You may be trying to teach about eating positive. You may be talking about a political thing you believe in. But when you start by attacking others, you lose me. I'm gone. I will not listen to another word you say. And you may have something really worthy to say, but I'm not going to hear it. I'm not. So Andy Stanley tells a cute story on his message about the weight of our words. And he says that when he was younger, he wanted to look like Peter Frampton. And that dates me, doesn't it? It dates him a little bit too. But yeah, so Peter Frampton was this really curly-haired dude that was a musician. And so he wanted to look like Peter Frampton. So in order to look like Peter Frampton, he had to grow out his hair. And it got real curly and, real unwieldy or unwildy, whatever. And his father, who's very conservative, Charles Stanley, he looked at him and he said, "Oh, son, you just look like a girl. I don't like your hair. I just, he was very negative about it. But his mom thought it was adorable. And he said all his life, his mom said, "Where are those curls? I want those curls back." Only moms can do that for sure. So, and he said, well, and so my father, when I finally cut my hair, my father looked at me and he said, "Finally, you look like my son." And Andy said, "Well, did I not look like who did I look like before when I wasn't looking like your son?" And Andy says to his audience, he said, "So what did I do with that? What did I do with that word coming from my father? I didn't like it." He said, "But I went on to work with him in ministry for the next 12 years. And he said the reason why he did is that's not the only word he heard from his father. Most of the words from his father were very positive, very kind, very loving, very uplifting. Point is, we are all going to say things we're not proud of. We are. I have done it. I said something the other day that was so stupid. As soon as I came out of my mouth, I went, "Why did you say that?" We're all going to do it. But if most of the words out of our mouth are positive, uplifting, and if we're concentrating on when everything we say is but only for the edifying, the lifting, and the building of others, for the benefit for those who would hear it, we will make a positive impact on the world, y'all. We just will. It's so powerful. Our words, I am so in belief that our words are so powerful. That's what I spend most of my time talking here on My Happy Ass Life. And you're going to hear more of that as this next season happens. What you're not going to hear me talking about, you'll never, ever, ever, never hear me talk about politics. Ain't happening. Not going to happen. People sometimes will encourage me to take a stand on something politically, and I will never do that because I believe that God put me here to edify and love all his kids. All his kids. That's the kids on the red side, the kids on the blue side. That's the black kids. That's the white kids. That's the Indian kids. That's the Muslim kids. That's the Christian kids. That's the unchristian kids. That's the atheist kids. I've got friends who are atheists, y'all. And you know what? Last time I checked, Jesus told me I was supposed to love everybody. Everybody. Irregardless of race, creed, sex, way to have sex, all those things are not what I'm called to do. And I am passionate about it. I am passionate about that. So I love that Susan Russell just wrote, may the words of my mouth, I love that verse. May the words of my mouth be acceptable in your sight. May the words of my mouth, may the words of my mouth. Y'all, if we could guard this mouth, I think the world would be a sweeter place. I really do. I think it'd be so important. I got another story to tell you real quick that really kind of smacks at this. And, oh gosh, I hope I have time to tell you everything I need to tell you. So, there's a guy, and I think I've talked a little bit about this before, and I hope you don't know who I'm talking about. But there's a guy on Facebook, and he just unleashes it. He's very political, and I'm not going to say what kind of business he has, but he has a business. And he's very political. He just spouts out all kinds of stuff. And he calls people out on Facebook. He shares text about what's happening with people on Facebook. And he's like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's like watching, what's that show? Floribama. What's the other one? The Jersey thing or whatever. It's just a train wreck. I look at that and I go, oh my God. So fast forward, I had a chance to have to do a dealing with him. I had to do a business dealing with him. Y'all, I was scared. I was scared to death because everybody knows that I'm Miss Happy Ass. Everybody knows that I'm gonna talk sweet. Everybody knows that I want you to talk sweet to people and I want you to be kind to people. I don't ever want you to be confrontational, none of those things. So I was scared to talk to him. I was terrified, but my job required me to do it. Y'all, he was the nicest person. He was one of the easiest people I've ever dealt with. He discussed the problem and the solution. He did not attack me. He did not attack my agent. He was gracious. He was so easy to work with. Now, let me tell you this. If I had judged him completely by his Facebook post and his Instagram post, y'all, I would have thought he was horrible. But this guy was a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy. So I just guess we need to think about what are we putting forward out there on the planet? And also maybe for me, I need to just because I see some of my friends saying things that embarrass me. And I go, y'all need to get that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And you won't be doing that. I promise you. Okay. So I don't have all day to talk to you. So I want to talk to you about a couple more things that I'm really excited about. Some things that we're going to talk about soon. I want to talk about, go a little deeper into what breaks my heart and what that means for us and what we're put here to do on the planet. I'm going to talk to some other people who feel very deeply about that. And some of the guests coming up this time are the Merit Boys. If you don't know them, oh my gosh, please go on their Instagram, their Facebook. I don't think Levi has a Facebook page yet. But Samuel does. I think Samuel's older than Levi. Yes, he is. Samuel's older. Because I remember they said when they named Samuel and then they had Levi, they couldn't name him like Ted. They had to name him something that meant something too. So Samuel and Levi Merritt, amazing kids. They're big surfers. They're big into track and field. But what they have the Merritt Brothers Conservation. I may not have that just right, but what they do is they bring awareness to our community for our beautiful Gulf and for our coastal waters and how we take care of them, how we love them. They've done research into how we help people take care of them and care about not littering and things like that. They're just amazing kids. So they're going to be on there. They all share their Bible verse that they live by. It's my favorite. Love God, love others. That simple. Pretty good. Wraps the whole thing up in one little package. I'm going to have Josh Taylor on, dear friend of mine that I met through real estate. Who says real estate can't be spiritual? Met he and his wife Rachel and his son Noble. And he has a podcast. It's amazing. The next right question, please listen. Y'all, the one he just dropped on Friday, y'all, it's about not letting the opinions of others sway you. We're definitely going to be talking about that because I'm still trying to figure out that people-pleasing thing. I ain't there yet. If you're there yet, then you can not even pay attention to that one. But I need a lot of help in that department. I think that holds me back from doing a lot of things that I want to do, like writing my books and finishing some of the projects I've started. I'll start on other things like on my fundraisers instead of doing the thing I know that God has called me to do. That he'll be here. Octavia Pullen, she goes by Tay Tay on the internet. She is she used to be a homeless mama of 3 kids. She became homeless after Hurricane Michael. She will be on the podcast talking about being homeless, talking about what it felt like, talking about what her life is looking like now. She used to work at the Blake. She now does freelancing and caring for people in homes, like especially the elderly. She has a real heart for the elderly. Y'all, she was homeless. She was homeless. I met her at the Poor because of the grace and the goodness of precious people like Mike Bennett and Liz Bennett, who have a place that helps people transition from homelessness to do it just out there in the world, but only for the benefit of others. Isn't that beautiful? I also had on the podcast Jade Petronas. Y'all, she is a delight. She is just as happy and joyful and bubbly and excited about life as you imagine her to be. She's also like me, though. She loves people, but she requires a lot of alone time, a lot of reflecting, rest, and study into her own self, and I find that to be very true. We're going to discuss things like statements that I don't understand, like one size fits all. What does that even mean? We're going to talk about that next time. One size fits all. How can one size fit all? There ain't no way one size can fit all. That is why we need to be more gracious and kind and loving with each other, because one size does not fit all. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story before we go and do a little affirmation, because I got to get JJ to her school. Then I got to get back to my office where I'm doing a one-on-one with one of my precious people with goal setting, which I love, love, love. So, little story from church yesterday. In everything we do, I want us to really focus on that but only for the building up of others, that it may benefit them and those who listen. Okay? So in church yesterday, I'm sitting there in Eastgate Church, and Rob's in the middle of a powerful message. He's really just pouring it on. He's just sharing his heart, which he does so beautifully. And a phone rings. And it doesn't ring once, it rings twice. Like the phone rings, and I know that poor person is just scrambling. He's embarrassed. She's embarrassed. Whoever it is, they're scrambling to try to get that phone to turn off. Y'all, my phone's been on silent now for about 2 years because I'm terrified of that happening to me. So Rob, teases, and he says, "You want to get that?" He says, "It seems like it might be very important." And then he starts laughing. He said, "But really," he said, "please don't worry about it. Do not worry about that. This is the time we live in. Phones will ring. Phones will interrupt things. Please don't worry about it. It can happen to any of us." And then he went on to say, "Hey, one time I was up here preaching in the pulpit." He calls it teaching. He calls it preaching. I was teaching in the pulpit, and my phone rang, and I looked at it. It was Janelle, my daughter Janelle. And she says, "Dad, what you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm up here teaching, honey. You want to say hi to everybody?" And of course, she's in a different time zone, and she forgets what time it is, and that's what happens. But he is trying to say it can happen to any of us. He was being gracious, so gracious. And y'all, what's so funny, that wasn't even the message. That wasn't the message. But I heard it loud and clear that being gracious with our words and kind with our words can be the biggest testimony, the biggest message that you give out in the world today. So I'm hoping that you are gracious, you are kind, and you're loving. And y'all, you know what I did not do? I have got to talk to you about my sponsors before we leave, because the reason I am able to do this now is because of my precious and wonderful and amazing sponsors. My sponsors this year for this season are the Final Touch Design. The Final Touch Design can help you with your kitchen, your bathroom, anywhere you want to change it up, you want to rehab it, you want to just give it new life. Just think of them as the final touch. Skip and Marsha Wall, with their amazing team of designers, can help you. They're located really close to my office, and if you want to see some of their fabulous work, because guess what? It is summer kitchen time coming up. Come to my office, look at my gorgeous summer kitchen. It was made by the product Nature Cast that does not rust, that does not look old. It looks beautiful. And y'all, if you are trying to figure out how to save on your taxes, all right, I got the answer for you. It's not just your accountant. Sometimes you need another team, and sometimes your accountant may not even know about that, so tell him about it. Please call Brian Yormack at Bay Tax, where they will teach you how to do a cost segregation. And it costs a little bit of money, but it saves a lot of money. So call Brian Yormack with Bay Tax. He can also help you with the employment benefit thing where you can get the money back. Y'all, I'm so good at this stuff, which is why I depend on other people who are better than me. And I cannot leave without thanking Beachy Beach Real Estate. Thank you so much. I now have partners. They believe in what I'm doing. They believe in this message that I'm putting out in the world, where we are being gracious and kind and loving and of benefit to others. That's it, y'all. That's it in a nutshell. Okay, and before I leave, I'm going to give you a little affirmation, and it's titled, What Breaks My Heart? We're going to be talking a lot about that this year. What breaks my heart? And I want to use what breaks my heart to bring more love, more light, and ask the question, what does love require of me? What does love require of you? Here we go. What breaks my heart? I want to spend my life giving value to, spending energy on, teaching lessons on, re-emphasizing values around what breaks my heart. I want to change the world one word at a time, one thought at a time, and one hope at a time. I plan to take what breaks my heart and focus on healing and loving myself and others. And so it is. Y'all, if this was of a benefit to you, please share it with others. Please share it on all the places. You will find this on Instagram, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, all those places. This one's live, but you'll hear this again. It'll probably come out next week, and we'll keep on doing this. You'll hear some great interviews coming up soon. I hope to get Jennifer Vigil on with me again. I hope to get my daughter, Brett Matthews, on with me. And she is doing delightful things in the world and leading writing workshops and taking her creativity and using it for the healing of herself and others. So y'all, I want you to focus today on the benefit of your words for the uplifting and helping others, but only. Be sweet, y'all. Bye.